Hi everyone, welcome back to the Filling the Void. In today's video, we will be learning about the types of machine learning algorithms. So, before we start, make sure you have watched the lecture 1 where I've covered the basics of machine learning. I have provided the link to that video in the description. So, if you haven't watched it yet, be sure to check it out before you continue with this lecture. So, let's get started. Before we start the video, let's discuss the outcomes of this video. Upon the completion of this video, you will be able to understand what is data, understand the types of data, understand supervised machine learning, understand unsupervised machine learning, and understand the difference between supervised and unsupervised machine learning. So let's get started. Before we understand supervised machine learning and unsupervised machine learning, it is necessary to understand what is data because it is the foundation of it. Now, data is nothing but the information. We know that. It is everywhere around us and it is the foundation of machine learning. According to Oxford Dictionary, data means distinct pieces of the information which is usually formatted in a special manner. Data can be numbers like sensor readings, marks in your exams, sales figures of a shop. It can be text like emails, WhatsApp messages, tweets, etc. Data can be images like photographs, MRIs, CT scans. It can be audio like recorded speech, songs, or podcast. It can be video like movies, YouTube videos, or even an online lecture like this one. So, data can be in many forms, and we use them for different machine learning tasks. Now, the interesting part is some data comes with labels while some doesn't. And based on it, there are two types of data, labeled data and unlabeled data. But before we understand what is data labeling, it is important to understand what is label. So, label is nothing but the true thing that we are predicting, like spam or not spam. In the case of email spam classification, labels give meaning to the data. Without labels, data is like a blank sheet. You do not know what it is about. Like for an email, the label can be spam or not spam. For a photo of an animal, the label can be dog, cat, or elephant, or deer. It can be anything like that. Basically, labels tell us what the data represents. Right? Look at this. This is the photo or the image of an email which is tagged or the labeled as spam. So I hope now you understand what is data label. So now that we understand what is data label, let's understand what is data labeling. Data labeling is the process of adding some meaning to the different types of data sets so that it can be properly used to train a machine learning model. Let's say you're building an emails classification system. You will take emails and tag them as spam or not spam. So, in short, data labeling means taking raw data and assigning meaning to them by giving it a label or a tag. Let's look at a picture. You can clearly see the difference between the labeled data and unlabeled data. In the labeled part, we have assigned the labels or the tags to the images. While in unlabeled data, we have not assigned any kind of labels to the images. So I hope I have made the labeled data and unlabeled data clear. Let's understand labeled data and unlabeled data in detail. See, label data has two parts, input features and output labels. Input features means the information or the details that we give to the machine. And the output labels means the answers or the categories linked to that input. This type of data is used to train supervised machine learning model. Let's look at one data set. Here, the area, number of floors, and distance from the nearest school are input features, while the price of the house is the target or the output label. This is label data because the inputs like area, number of floors, and distance from the nearest school are tagged with the output feature. So this is label data. मतलब कि अगर एरिया 1000 है, नंबर ऑफ फ्लोर्स 1 है और डिस्टेंस फ्रॉम द नियरेस्ट स्कूल 5 किलोमीटर्स है, तो ऐसे हाउस की कीमत क्या होगी? $600. That means we have provided the label or the answer to the data point, to the input feature. Right? So I hope you now understand what is label data. Let's go ahead and understand what is unlabeled data. Unlabeled data consists of data points that do not have corresponding output label or answers. It contains only the input features without any target labels. And this type of data is used in unsupervised machine learning model. मतलब कि it only contains input features. They are not tagged or labeled with any output label. They only have input feature. We do not know कि अगर ये input है तो क्या output होगा. डेटा सेट में नहीं बताया होता कि input feature का corresponding output क्या है. That is unlabeled data. Let's understand it with the example of a data set. Look at this. We are given with feature 1, feature 2 and feature 3, which are height, weight and age. But there is no corresponding output. So this is unlabeled data. We are just given input features. Are there any target labels or are there any output? No. So this is unlabeled data. I hope now you understand what is labeled data and unlabeled data. So let's go ahead and understand what is supervised machine learning. See, supervised machine learning is a type of machine learning algorithm where the model learns from labeled data. Means the data where input features are labeled or tagged with output labels. In simple words, the model learns from the examples where the answers or the labels are already provided. Let's learn the process or the algorithm used in supervised machine learning algorithm. We first take a data set that has both input features and corresponding output labels. And then we divide the data set into two parts, training data set and testing data set. Training data set is used to train the model. It is typically 70 to 80% of the data. And the testing data set is used to evaluate the model's performance or the accuracy. And it is typically 30 to 20% of the data. For example, if we have 100 tuples or 100 rows in our data set, we can take 80 tuples as the training data and 20 as testing data. Okay. And then we use the training data set to train the model. The model learns to map input features to output labels by identifying patterns in the data. And then we test the trained model on the testing data set. And then we compare the model's predictions with actual labels to measure its performance using metrics like accuracy, precision, recall. We will be seeing this everything in upcoming lectures. Okay. And once validated, we will use the model to make prediction on new unseen data. In short, we divided the data into two parts and 80 and 20. The model is trained on this 80% of this data, and we predicted some values. This 20 predicted values, and we have 20 actual values. They are actual answers. We will compare these both and find the accuracy of the model. This is supervised machine learning. I hope it is clear to you, but let's now understand this with an example. Please watch the video carefully. Here, a human is training the machine using some pictures of dinosaurs. The machine learns from this data. And now, one day, human disappears and the machine is tasked with predicting a new creature that hasn't been labeled. And using the knowledge it gained from the supervised learning model during its training with the human, the machine predicts the new creature as a dinosaur. Let's watch the video. See, this is human. This is our machine. Machine or our ML model. Human is teaching the machine that this is a dinosaur. मतलब कि we are giving label data to the machine. Now, one fine day, the human just disappears. I hope now you understand what is supervised machine learning. But let's look at one more example to make it even more clear. See, on the left hand side, we have shapes like hexagons, squares, and the triangles. And each shape is labeled that tells what it is, like hexagon, triangle, or the square. The labeled shapes are given to the supervised machine learning model for the training. The model studies the shapes and the respective labels to understand the patterns. After training, we provide the model with new shapes, test data that it hasn't seen before. For example, we have given it a square and a triangle as a testing data. The model looks at the new shapes and predicts their labels based on what it has learned from the training data. And in the end, the model correctly predicts that one shape is square and one shape is triangle. I hope now you understand the supervised machine learning clearly. And supervised machine learning has two methods, regression and classification, but we will be understanding regression and classification in detail in the upcoming videos. Now that we have understand supervised machine learning, let's go to the second type of machine learning algorithm, and that is unsupervised machine learning. What is unsupervised machine learning? Unsupervised machine learning is a type of machine learning where the model learns from the unlabeled data. Look at this. There is an image of the dog and the cat. Are we given any label with this image? No, that is exactly unsupervised machine learning. Model learns from unlabeled data. The data given to the model doesn't have any predefined answers or the labels. The model tries to find patterns, relationships, or groupings in the data without having any predefined labels. Let's say you have a data set of fruits, but you don't know the model, you don't tell the model that which fruit is which. The model will find some fruits are similar in shape and the color, while others are different. So it will end up grouping fruits into clusters, like group 1 of apples, group 2 of oranges, group 3 of grapes. And the model doesn't know the specific names of the fruits, but it will still organize them into meaningful groups based on the patterns it discovers in the data. Let's understand the process or the algorithm used in unsupervised machine learning. We first take a data set that has only input with features with no corresponding output labels. मतलब कि we are just given input features in the data set. And then we apply appropriate unsupervised machine learning algorithm. The model will try to find patterns, relationships, or groupings of the structure in the dataset on its own. Once it applies the suitable algorithm, the algorithm divides the data objects into groups according to the similarities or the difference between the objects. Okay, let's understand this process with an example. Please watch the video carefully. See, you can see that there are a mix of circles in different colors like orange, blue, and green. They're different in sizes, they're different in colors, and this circle represents raw data that is messy, unorganized, and without any predefined labels. मतलब कि this is unlabeled data. Now, this unlabeled data or the raw data is given to the unsupervised machine learning model. This unsupervised machine learning model. The model will try to find hidden patterns or similarities, and then it will group them into clusters. Now let's look at one more example. This is the example of anomaly detection. You can see that on the left hand side we have historical data which has been collected over time. This data is used to train the model. See, and the real-time data is continuously fed into the system, often the servers or the sensors. And this live data is compared against historical data. The system monitors live data for irregularities or unexpected behavior. When an unusual event is detected, like a spike in the server activity or suspicious transaction, it gets flagged and it is flagged as anomaly. Anomaly detection systems are widely used across various industries like network security, finance, manufacturing, healthcare, for detecting abnormal health conditions. And unsupervised learning has two methods, clustering and association, but we will explore these methods in upcoming lectures. Let's see the difference between supervised and unsupervised machine learning. The supervised machine learning algorithms are trained using labeled data, and unsupervised machine learning algorithms are trained using unlabeled data. We already know this. Supervised machine learning takes direct feedback to check if it is predicting correct output or not. We know that in unsupervised machine learning, we know the correct output. The correct output is already given in the dataset. So we will check our predicted answer with the actual answer and we'll check if it is accurate or not. But in unsupervised machine learning, model does not take any feedback. We do not know if it is accurate or not. Supervised machine learning needs supervision to train the model. And unsupervised machine learning does not need any supervision to train the model. We know this. And in supervised machine learning, inputted data is provided to the model along with the output. But in unsupervised machine learning, only inputted data is provided to the model. We already know this. I hope you have understood everything that is covered in this video, like basics of data, labeled data versus unlabeled data, supervised and unsupervised machine learning. In subsequent videos, we will cover methods used in supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and other machine learning algorithms like semi-supervised machine learning and reinforcement learning. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please drop your questions or suggestions in the comments. See you in the next video.